Time now for a look at major developments in SWIFT's Global Payments Initiative, otherwise known as GPI. Now, following a successful pilot, SWIFT is introducing inbound tracking as a new feature in the GPI for Corporates portfolio, benefiting both the banks and corporates. It's now available for all GPI banks and allows them to provide visibility to their clients on incoming payments, even before the payment itself arrives at the bank. I'm delighted to say we're now joined by Sébastien de Gasquet, the Accounts Director Corporates at SWIFT, McCray, who's Managing Director and Head of Global Corporate Payments at Bank of America, Rony Meyer, Senior Full-Stack DevOps Engineer at Nokia, and Jan Lesniewski, Senior Treasury Analyst at Spotify. Gentlemen, a very good day to you all, and thank you so much for joining us here at Sibos. Jan, I'd like to start with you first because, look, you're live on GPI for corporates, and indeed you're using it on a daily basis to track your payments. So what are your first thoughts about the value that it's bringing to your company today? Where are you seeing it?
Yeah, first and foremost, many thanks for having me. It's very fun to be here. To be clear, we currently use Swift GPI for outgoing payments, but not inbound payments. But that's something that we will be discovering in the future. We think that Swift GPI provides really a clear value for us. It allows us to view the status of the outgoing payments directly in the treasury management system, and we use Kyriba. As we are operating globally, and we pay, for instance, labels and publishers regularly to all over the world. And with Swift GPI, we can more efficiently respond to questions from this type of counterparties on, for example, payment statuses. We can monitor bank fees and the FX throughout the whole chain of the correspondent and beneficiary banks. And just to add to that, I think there is sorry.
No, please do continue.
And I also think that there is sort of a compliance point of view for us, an advantage here as well, because with Swift GPI and track and trace, we can reduce the number of users that need access to the online banking platforms and switch them over to the TMS system instead. And that's something that we strive for.
And it's quite a journey, isn't it, Sébastien? Because if we go back to last year, we heard at Sibos about GPI for corporates with the go-live of pay and trace and indeed the ambition to go beyond payment initiation and tracking. So where do you think we are today with extending the service to incoming payments?
Indeed, right after Sibos 2019, we launched a pilot for inbound tracking as an additional layer to GPI for corporates. Despite the COVID situation that kept our community quite busy, this pilot was very successful, as we saw almost 50 participants joining, including corporates, obviously. Many pay and trace ready banks and vendors joined the pilot and extended their existing portfolio. But we also saw a wide representation of new members joining the initiative through inbound tracking. This is very good news, as we have extended the reach, the readiness, and many of our corporates can now benefit from GPI added value directly in their treasury management systems in more and more regions with more and more banks. That being said, I'm very proud to announce that inbound tracking service is officially live now, which leaves the opportunity for any connected corporate to join the initiative, to get transparency on their international payments, but also to improve their forecasting overall.
Okay, let me bring in AJ at this point, because you are a key participant in inbound tracking and already offering G4C services to your customers. So can you tell us why it was important for you to join this initiative? What were the benefits to you?
Yeah, definitely. So we hear from our corporate clients that visibility and transparency in their cross-border payments is critical. And as Jan and Sébastien mentioned, a lot of the recent innovation on cross-border payments has been in the outgoing payments. But the inbound or the receiving side of payments is equally important. If you think about a large corporate customer, they may be receiving tens of millions up to hundreds of millions of dollars a day in cross-border inbound payments. And for that corporate to manage their cash flow, to manage their working capital, to manage their operating balances, getting better visibility and transparency on that inbound flow is very important. So we heard the need from our clients. Bank of America has always been an innovator in payments and in cross-border payments, and we were very pleased to join this inbound tracking initiative.
Okay, and Rony, just like Bank of America, as we were hearing from just there, Nokia is leading the developments of GPI for corporates. So why is this new layer of inbound tracking important to your company?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we were already an early adapter of banking APIs for balances and transactions. With inbound tracking, we can now go one step further, and it gives us more information even earlier. That way we can allocate receivables faster and hence then release the products to the customer earlier. Another benefit is the short-term cash forecasting. Knowing that funds arrive helps us with the planning and optimizing cash. We stopped using all zero balancing agreements and we manage to centralize the cash on our own. So that means if we receive information faster, we can centralize the money earlier.
Okay, so speed is of the essence there. But every day we know, AJ, that more than 2,000 corporate groups are leveraging the SWIFT channel so that they can communicate with their banks worldwide. So how are you offering GPI features to the clients that you deal with?
Yeah, sure. So we know that not all of our clients are SWIFT enabled or SWIFT for corporate enabled. So it's important to us at Bank of America that all of our clients across our segments get access to this powerful SWIFT for GPI data. If you think about what we call our business banking segment, which is on the smaller end of companies, they may only be doing 5 or 6 cross-border wires a month. But that makes each wire that much more important. And if you move up a segment to what we call our commercial banking segment, a typical client may only be doing 15 or 20 wires, cross-border wires a month. And these cross-border wires are largely for vendor and supplier payments. And for many of these companies, their supplier relationships really are the lifeblood of their company. So being able to have that additional visibility and transparency to be able to easily answer a supplier question about a payment really helps improve their supplier relationships. So it's been important for us to offer these services across the spectrum, both from our Fortune 500 multinationals and to the small local companies. So we continue to invest overall in our GPI offering, and in particular, in more and better tools to enable all of our clients to get access to the data.
Okay, let me follow on from that because, Rony, I'd like to bring you into the conversation again because, look, you talked about the value that G4C is bringing to your company, but what do you think should be happening next? Because this is a massive journey, a very exciting one as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and we have APIs implemented with most of our cash management banks, and we're covering well over 500 bank accounts. What we would like to see next is standardization. Because today every connection is different. Like it's in terms of authentication and the specification of the API itself. Like SWIFT could really help us with driving the standard forward and offering a solution to the banks. On the payment side, we used to be in the same position. We used to have custom formats with every bank, and we migrated to ISO 20022. That gave us the same standard with all banks. With APIs, we are now back to square one, where we have, again, a custom implementation with every bank. We also would like to see a central service for validating instructions before we're sending out payments and receive more remittance information for incoming payments.
Right, so a lot there, standardization and the central service for validation of payments. What do you think about that, AJ? Is that your take on it? And is it the kind of feedback that you're getting from your customers?
Yes, definitely. So we hear a lot about APIs from our customers across the board, and in particular related to GPI and cross-border payments. We are at Bank of America are very heavily invested in our API strategy. We announced yesterday, actually, some additional API capability on our CashPro platform. And in addition to what was previously said about APIs, we hear a lot about the value of APIs in terms of additional speed of getting information quicker, and also in terms of efficiency and effectiveness as well. So we definitely hear a lot about this from our customers, and are continuing to have a lot of focus on our API strategy.
And Jan, if I can bring you in here, I mean, what other service would you be interested in so that you can access the using of these standardized APIs across all of your banks?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic. So we see primarily a focus in getting bank account statements via standardized APIs, and to get visibility to real-time balances and cash positions through that. What we have today with our most of our cash management banks is that we receive sort of end-of-date statements in CAM53 formats, but the content and of these statements are really not aligned across the banks. And all the information we receive in our TMS is not available or integrated in the way that we would like to have it. So a standardized API making that possible would be really beneficial for us. And we very much look forward to see what the banks, together with the treasury management systems, can provide in the future. And also, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, so our ambition is to reduce the accesses to online banking platforms, but doing so requires access to continuously updated and detailed information available in our TMS. And that's not really the reality for us today.
I mean, AJ, there's a lot of talk about GPI improving transparency and also the speed on payments for banks. And it's also really exciting to hear how this is bringing benefits to the bank's end customers. So some brilliant testimonies. And as ambassadors of GPI for corporates, what is the message that you'd like to give to other banks and corporates? What would you like to tell them in this space?
Yeah, sure. What I would say is, a lot of the innovation that's going on today in cross-border payments, the power of it really comes from the power of the network. So, to the banks, it's really about how we continue to work together to innovate and to offer better services to our clients. And to the corporates, it's really about continuing to provide us with feedback. Bank of America, we are committed to continuing to innovate in this space. And the more feedback we hear from our corporate clients, and the more ideas we have, the more we can continue to improve our offering.
And Jan, is that a message that you would validate? I mean, what would you say to banks and indeed other corporates?
Yeah, so in a best case scenario for us, all our cash management banks and their branches would support Swift GPI, but unfortunately that's not the case. I think that it should be a standard service that banks will be expected to provide to customers in the future, and that we will start having Swift GPI as part of our standard RFIs or RFPs with the banks going forward.
Sébastien, we've heard some amazing experiences about this system and the benefits that it's bringing. So I'd like to get your response really to what you've heard. And thank you as well for sharing the exclusive news today, earlier in that interview, and really giving us a sense of the journey forward, because there is a lot to do, but you're not daunted by that challenge either.
I believe that AJ, Jan and Rony provided a really exhaustive and overview and feedback when it comes to the benefits of GPI for our entire community, and how these benefits clearly reflect on our connected corporate through GPI for corporates. Visibility, integrity, speed, transparency on payments are actually only a first step for us. As stated earlier, and as you said, we are leveraging on all that has been successfully built already to further extend the GPI for corporates service to inbound tracking, now live with every and for every connected corporate or bank. But we are not going to stop here, as we are, again, as part of GPI for Corporate, also launching an initiative called Corporates to Bank APIs that would allow any connected corporate to consume, through their ERP or treasury management system, any G4C data provided by the bank directly through APIs. This would offer an additional channel to exchange the information with an improved flexibility for our customers. Talking about APIs, and it really echoes to what has been said by our panelists today, we are also working on building standardized, and the word standardized is very important here, standardized API channels in the banks to corporate and corporate-to-bank spaces. And this is, I believe, really relevant, especially when it comes to the bank providing account information to the corporate. We will build all that by leveraging on our network capabilities. And we are obviously really dependent on our community to succeed, including Bank of America, Nokia, and Spotify here, who I believe already demonstrated today their engagement with us.
Okay, look, there's a lot happening. This is why you guys are very, very busy. But thank you so much for your time. And enjoy Sibos 2020 to Sébastien de Gasquet, AJ McCray, Rony Meyer, and Jan Lesniewski. Have a great day. Thank you.